I'm Jack Hodgins, welcome back to my channel, and we're talking about flyaways, what potentially could cause flyaways. It's a question that's come up from one of my subscribers, and I thought I'd warrant a video on this because it's very hard to explain it in an email. I think flyaways are not as common as they are on YouTube videos, because I think a lot of the YouTube videos are filmed like that to get attention, I think. I've not had a flyaway myself, been flying for almost 2 years now, and not one of my Phantoms actually flew away as such, but I just want to run through very quickly what could cause flyaways. Wind speeds too high. Phantom 7 mile an hour top wind speed, perfect flying. I think more than that, don't risk it. It's £1,000. If you Inspire, you can get up to 19 mile wind speeds, and it sort of looks like this when it's hovering, so it is fighting a bit against the wind. If it's like that, it's not very good at flight experience, so I wouldn't fly. I know Inspire can fly. If you've got a lot of space with Inspire, and you've got no trees around you, and you can get up quite high altitude, then you could have a sort of pleasant flight experience with a bit more higher wind speed. But I wouldn't risk it. Today I was flying, it was 19 mile wind speeds, and it was like that, hovering, and I was fighting against it some of the time, because you get like pockets of air as you sort of go up high or come down lower. And I found it, I mean, it was £2.5 grand worth of Inspire. I didn't want to risk it anymore, so I did land it. So wind speeds, interference, that cause interference, don't calibrate the compass correctly, don't record home position. They're all common things that could cause a flyaway. Now, return home is a thing that's been touched quite a few times before, and one of my colleagues in theory crashed in a tree, but I think at the time when we was talking about it today and discussing a bit further what physically happened, it did sound like he did go into return home because the battery was running a bit too low. He has a Phantom 2, which basically means he doesn't have the app to be able to see or get alerted when the batteries are going too low. He has to rely on the back of the lights. But if your Phantom's a bit too far away from you, you're not going to see the lights correctly. You're going to have to bring it back to physically have a look. And if you're wearing glasses and stuff, it's a bit more hard to see a light quite far away, you know. So you're not going to see whether you're running your battery flat, because it doesn't send anything back to the remote control to sort of say, hey, I'm on it, battery's flat, bring it back. With the Phantom Vision 2, you have the app. The app will literally go red around the corners, and you get alarms going, and it'll flash and stuff to say, you know, battery's going flat, and it will then give you the option to fly back. But if you ignore it, it's quite hard to ignore because it's in your face. It will then go to a certain percentage, I think it's about 20%, then it will return to home automatically, so you have no choice to take your hands off and let it come back. So you haven't done home lock, so when you do the calibration of the compass, you put the Phantom back down on the floor, you leave it for a few more, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds, then you know it's going to lock home position. And I think on the Phantom app, you've got a little green light on the top of the app, basically, that actually tells you when it's on, it's actually record home position. Then you'll know it's going to come back to where you took off from, okay? The other thing as well is people don't realise, on return to home, you can change the altitude height of like how high you want it to go raised to, because with the way return home works is when you fly around in a circle like this, or you've gone in a square shape, I suppose, when return home kicks in, it's not going to go back to the same bit you flew before. It's going to take the shortest route back to you, so it's going to come straight back. And the way it works is when you're flying, say for instance you're flying at that sort of path, okay, it's going to stop, it's going to pause, it's going to raise altitude to the basic settings, which I can't remember what it's top of my head, and then it's going to come straight back, okay? So you've got trees in the way, or you've got a building in the way, it's going to smack bang with you. If you've not recorded home position, it's going to go somewhere else, basically. So if you've just brought it out of the shop, it's been delivered to you, you've unpacked it, you've charged batteries up, gone off, and you start flying it, and not recorded home position or calibrate the compass, then it's going to fly back to China, or where it's come from, where it's last tested. So fly away. So make sure you have that correctly set, and when you fly around near trees or bushes and stuff, look at the highest tree or the highest building you're nearby. Work out how high it is. So if it's 100 feet, change return home altitude to be 150. You have to do this every time you go to a different location, because it's all different scenarios where you're flying, where you're going to be flying around by trees and buildings. You need to find what the highest point is. So if you are flying around nearby it, or you change angle, then you can then change the altitude height to make sure you actually clear it. Because as soon as return home kicks in, it's just going to stop where it is. It's going to pause, It's going to adjust itself. It's going to go straight up really fast. It does, because it's quite scary return home, because it can go up really quick. And you think, what the hell? Especially if it goes up really quick, you start panicking. And I think that could also cause a flyaway, where people panic on the controller, trying to flicking all sorts of switches, trying to say, what's it going? And they don't realise it's returning home. So I will practice to return home. So if you get your Phantom or your Inspire out, practice return home to make sure it comes back safely with you. So you get the feel of how it works, and you get to know when it kicks in. So if you are actually in your head's all fixed on a particular shot you're trying to get, and suddenly it goes into return to home, you're going to know when it kicks in. And you get the feel of it. You think, oh, that's return home. Battery's running a bit flat. It's coming back. Then you don't panic then. So I always practice that. So make sure the altitude's set to where you are, to make sure avoid buildings, because it'll go through a building. It doesn't know what's in front of it. It doesn't know what's behind it. So all it knows is it's got GPS coordinates left off from. It knows its GPS position, and then it's just going to raise up in the air and then follow it back, basically. So check all those. I think common questions on flyaways, people don't read the manuals properly. Read the manuals inside out, get used to it. It's a big investment you pay for, even if you paid like 800 quid or anything above 500 quid, it's a reasonable investment. So it's worth reading the manual inside out, getting to know the product. Everything's in there. The Inspire, the Phantom manual is very well detailed, and it also is on your app now. So when you get your Phantom app up, go to the little book at the top, and you can download the manual on your phone, so it's there to read offline. So if you're out in the field, you can always check your manual for anything you want to particularly revise over. Same with Inspire. Inspire is actually on the Pilot app. You can re-download those, and you can go through all the statistics. There's even quick start guides on the Inspire you can check as well. So read the manual inside out, and when you're out in the field, first of all, practice your orientation, practice flying it so it's always in front of you and stuff, you know. Practice to return home, practice to calibrate compass, so make sure you do it every single time, and learn how your Phantom or your Inspire records home lock. So check on the app so you can actually confirm it. The Inspire is quite good, because as soon as you take off, it actually tells you home locked is locked. I had a problem where calibrate compass had an error, but it didn't warn me on the app. So when I took up in the air, it was like bobbing about a bit. I thought, that's not right. And I noticed it didn't actually tell me it's actually record home lock. So I landed it, recalibrated it again. And as soon as I fired up the motors, it says home lock now recorded, and away it goes. It was perfect. So I know the Phantom, if the compass doesn't calibrate properly, it will give you warning on the app. But if you do find you fly up in the air and you've got full GPS lock, so all your lights on the back of the Phantoms, a solid green basically light, you know it's got full lock. But if you're up in the air and it is sort of waving a bit, and it's not hovering firmly, then just bring it back down again, recalibrate the compass, and then try again basically. So always check those features as well. Make sure you've got no overhead power lines, interference. Check to make sure there's no other people running Phantoms. I'm not sure what the actual, I know with Inspire you can only fire 3 at a time in the air, because the 4th one, I think it causes interference, or there's not a signal for it to lock onto, because it obviously requires a lot more bandwidth on night bridge and stuff. So check to make sure there's no other people around nearby you. If you've got a Phantom, again, check, see who's in the park, because anything can cause a radio frequency interference that can record it going to home position anyway. So I'll just check all those sort of things. They're just common things to check for. And a lot of people on the YouTube channel don't seem to do that. A lot of YouTubers don't calibrate it correctly. I've seen people turn it the wrong way around. I've seen people not even doing a calibrated compass dance and stuff. I've seen people flying high wind speeds, hence their flyaways and stuff like that. A lot of the videos I've seen that are flyaways are genuinely look like human errors from what I can see. You know, I'm not saying every genuine video out there is a complete non-genuine. You know, there could be genuine people out there with videos, but it's very hard to tell these days, because a lot of people like the crashes, a lot of people like the flyaways disappearing and stuff like that, you know. So be careful, you know. Yeah, just make sure do all those checks first, and you should be fine. It's not put me off DJI. I think DJI is a fantastic product, a real robust, solid product, and I've not had any flyaways. I've had 2 crashes, both my fault. One was I flew in the tree because I got orientation all confused. So when I thought I was actually banking it right, it was going left instead, straight into the tree. And the other time is I was actually doing a demo on health and safety on a video, how to fly, you know, and keeping things in right perspective and stuff. and how easy it is to get confused. And as I was flying it around in the bend, somebody wanted me to show them like my finger controls as I'm turning it into like a bend and going around in a circle. It suddenly dropped out the air because one of the blades shot off of it. So that was a blade, or the prop may have not been screwed on right. Never got down to what that was, because I've had many flights after that. It's been perfect. So I don't know. With the Inspire, they have prop locks on them. So I know there's been a lot of questions about the ESCs. They have what we call ESC braking, and they brake so fast the actual prop will spin the opposite way around. Hence why prop locks off. So that's why these have them locked on. So I'm not sure whether the Phantom's the same, if it sort of spins one and stops and goes the other way, or it may enough to flip off. But I've only had that once out the whole time I've been flying. But again, that's just normal error. But I've never had a flyaway. So return home is scary because you think you are having a flyaway, but you're not. It's just the Phantom going into return home and coming back. So as long as you've got that return home lock on, the correct altitude set, it will come back to you. Always starts. And that's definitely a feature worth to do. I've been doing a lot of videos recently with a colleague that has a Phantom too. I've been teaching him all the sort of little bits he didn't really know about. He's too busy. He does lots of stuff, lots of multimedia stuff. And I was explaining to him about the return home, how that works. And that's when we came up with the thought that him crashing a tree was it going into return to home. He didn't realise it and he just panicked. So it's never worth panicking. So practice those things. Practice the return home to show it works. And you build confidence up. It is a confidence thing, because I've got $2.5 grand sitting in my hands flying around. I don't want to feel confident with it, so I fly slowly. I take my time. I take my time of like trying all sorts of different things in a very open space, a big field as possible, and less wind speed as possible. And then as soon as I start feeling more confident, I add more altitude on it. I go a bit further out and stuff, and then I start doing little tricks by looking at the camera, flying the angle, still seeing it in line of sight. And you just slowly build into it, and as soon as you feel confident enough, then you know everything about it. And once you've got all the things you need to do beforehand, because there's a lot of preparation involved to get it up on the ground before you take off, to make sure you don't get those flyaways and stuff. So that's my impression. But I'm not going to waffle any more about it. Hopefully that answers your question. So if you're going to go for a Phantom, don't go for the Phantom Vision Plus. I would hold out and go for the Phantom 3, because it's a completely different product. It's got the Phantom shell, but it has more or less all the Inspire in the Phantom 3. And please don't compare the Inspire and the Phantom 3 as the same product, because they are different in flying techniques. They're different experience. And if you're a full photographer doing aerial photography, you would have both in your backpack with you, because the Phantom 3 is great for indoors and closed spaces, and the Inspire is great for outdoors, maybe a little bit higher wind speeds, but it handles outside brilliantly and stuff. But if you're doing a lot more filming indoors, weddings, shots, or doing big hall photography and stuff like that, the Phantom 3 will be great, because it obviously uses the same sort of sonar, or I don't know, there's a name for it that the Inspire has, and it's great for indoor flying with. But I'm going to do a video very much on the Phantom 3 and Inspire, because everyone's sort of asking lots of questions about that. So that's another one I'm going to bring up very shortly anyway. So remember, read manual, check your practice your compass calibration, make sure home position is recorded, learn how that all works. Practice your return to home as well, to make sure you're confident that it's working all the time. Make sure your batteries are charged. Check your cells on your batteries. If you get a dead cell on your battery, don't try and discharge it and recharge it up again. Discard it, or if it's a fault of the batteries, return it back to DJI, hope they replace it for you. Or if it's over the warranty, discard it, get rid of it, replace it to be safe, because these LiPo batteries are not to mess about with. Don't pierce them, don't stab them, because they will explode. So they're not. Keep them away from your Phantom Inspire when you store them away for long periods of time. So if they do decide to pop, you're not going to actually catch your Phantom or Inspire light. It's going to be safe. So I'm buying a nice nice heavy duty metal box to store my batteries in when I don't actually fly. So when it comes at the winter time, I'll store them separately. Other than that, that's all I've got. I'll do some more tips and tricks very soon on the Inspire and the Phantom, so watch out for that. I've done some live, they're called tele or something. They're like live broadcasts out and about we've been doing the last couple of days, and it's an app on the iPhone and also on the galaxies and stuff. And you send a message out to all your Twitter users saying you're doing a live broadcast, and you start streaming live. So I've got a couple of them going up. We did one today and did one a couple of days ago. So I'm going to get them up online, so watch out for those videos next. And we've got some competition coming up, so watch out for that. And remember guys, 5th of December, the NEC show, which is the first drone show in the UK. All the top brands going to be there. DJI is going to be there, or you know, there's the 3DR is going to be there. Lots of brand names going to be there. Basically, I've got some free tickets to give away, and I've got some discount codes for you guys, so you get discount on tickets. I'm going to be there, so make sure you're there. So see you soon, and fly safe.